marrying for weekend. Where you see a good for yeah.
Hello everybody, how are you? Everything good? We're live. I missed you guys too, man. I miss everybody. My connection, okay, it's back up. It's back up. How are you, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters? So let's dive into the topic today straight, man. A few things don't happen for town, but we'll discuss those ones for people's perspective. People's perspective, we'll talk about some political current affairs. But today, I'm going to discuss this topic of freedom. Discuss this topic of freedom, for me, is very important. The way we express ourselves, the way we do freedom. Everybody always take things for granted. Freedom is one of the things we always take for granted, you know. And how to do freedom right. Who get lighter? Oshejare. Chinwe, how are you? My dancer, I'm well, oh Chinwe, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. So yeah, let me consult the notes. You know, I realize when you do this internet now. When you do this internet, it's just the fuck up. We always, you know, see freedom from a very individualistic, selfish point of view. And that's because that's how freedom has been sold to us. You know, they don't like to us say freedom for the living your life for the many is not free. It's living your life for yourself that is considered free. You know? So we must now begin to look at these conceptions or misconceptions. You know? Many people express their freedom in a way of bondage. Many people express their freedom with things that put them inside their own personal prisons. We can't give them we will stop them from even being able to express themselves in a free way. Many people are so free that they just consume. You know, they consume. And it is because they are free to consume. To the extent that they tie their own self-worth, to the extent maybe say they tie their own value of self to those things where they consume. So that if they don't feel afford those things where they consume, they don't feel afford those things again, they are suddenly less. They are suddenly less. They feel less. They feel that they have no value. You know, so that's like some kind of bondage too. So how can one be free in a way that we use our own freedom to tie ourselves in bondage? Many people are so free that they lose self-control and go into addiction of hard drugs. They start having habits. Maybe they might not afford the habit, or it's not even healthy. So people are so free that they express their freedom in ways that harm their own personal health. We'll come begin guys, they go hospital non-stop to treat those things, like people that drink too much, then get kidney failure. You understand? You're not in the bondage of treating kidney disease, kidney treatment, dialysis. You go do kidney operation because you are free to drink as you like. Drink 20 bottles, you are free. Nobody can tell you what to do. free, free, free. You know? So, this is the kind of freedom where they won't make we as motherland people believe, say, we get access to. Like the only expressions of freedom where they won't be that for us. So that's why I believe, say, you know, we need to touch on freedom. Waiting make people know they feel kill people as they like. You're also free to kill somebody, but it is also illegal to kill. So many of us, they try their best to always obey the law. The things where law say you know they're free to do. You know, you abandon that. You know, and quite rightly so. But now the things where our humanity, tell us, say we need to do for one another. Sympathy, empathy, love, respect. These things where we need as we no law to guide, no legal law, no man-made prison. No man-made prison to put you inside if you break this natural law. So I can realize, say, our interpretation of freedom is basically the negation of natural law. The more you can negate natural law, the more the system wants you to think you are free. Obey political law, man-made law. Especially because man-made law today is written under European conceptualizations. You know. So if you are obeying those laws, you are okay. But the natural law, laws of nature, the law that creates balance, the law will allow us to be here today due to balance. Right? Those laws, the more you can abuse those laws, the more you are free. Especially if you're an African person anywhere in the world. I realize, say, motherland people are given the right to be free, but free only to self-destruct. You know, now freedom, only freedom of self-destruction, now we get. Hence, you are free to insult your elders. You are free to insult your gods. Spit on your gods. That is freedom. I insult my, fuck the gods. Burn the shrine of the gods. You are free to desacralize the world. Make I not use that kind of big grammar. You know, anything where they sacred for this world, for our own world, especially for the black world, our own things where they sacred to us. Our rivers, our oceans, our trees, our environment. Those things where we don't attach spiritual relevance to, where they sacred, the sacred groove of the Igbos. You understand? These things are desacralized. It's okay to, we are free to destroy this world. But are we free to go to good school? Are you free to demand good jobs? Are you free for your child to live a secure life? These things we are not free for. But you are free to, you know, see anything you like to your ancestors. I be that expression of freedom. You are free to bully your friends. You are free to talk down on your friends. You are free to do as you like. But that is weak freedom. As you know, these are freedoms to self-destruct. No, so they always tell people, you know, you are free to catch a disease, drink till you die, free to destroy yourself. Dr. Amos Wilson said only African people describe freedom as the right to do anything that they like. Only African people describe freedom as the right to do anything they like. But then, all the things they like makes the white man rich. I repeat, only African people say freedom is the right to do anything that they like. But then all the things that they like make the white man rich. So now you are free to wear gold chain. Nobody can sanction you. Nobody can say to you, oh, African people are dying in Liberia and in Senegal and in Congo for these diamonds that you are wearing on your neck. As an African man, it is wrong for you to validate the death of our brothers and sisters in the Congo, in Senegal, in Liberia, participating in this blood trade. Right? But nobody can tell you that because you are free. If they tell you that, they are haters. So you are only free individually, and that's not easy freedom. I always tell people it is very easy to express individual freedoms, because many things you want as an individual, right, is self-destructive in a way. It is the control of your peers and society that keeps you in check. No matter all of us, they try to say, people say I don't give a fuck. I give a fuck. I give a fuck what my family thinks about me. I give a fuck what my friends think about me. I give a fuck what my community thinks about me. I give a fuck. You know, many people say they don't give a fuck, and I understand that, but that's not me. That's not my style. I can't deceive myself. But everybody who say they don't give a fuck, they give a fuck, because when they say they don't give a fuck, they lie. They are not telling the truth. But what do we give a fuck about? That's what happens. That's what matters. Sorry. What do we give a fuck about? That's what matters. So expressing your individual freedom under oppression, what does that mean? What does that one really mean? Say you are free. Because from a position of self, it is easy for me to justify oppression. Yes. If I am for self, if being for self is a validated concept of freedom, you understand? Because that's one other lie of freedom. You know, you have responsibility for your action. You have to take responsibilities for your action. Abi? But we find out, say, the more successful we are in society, the less responsible we are for our action. A rich man in society can get away with anything. He's not responsible or not held responsible. So where is the link of freedom to responsibility? Because one of the things where they say, where you are free for yourself, free as an individual to make the right decision. But then the more successful you are in society, the more you don't want to take responsibility for those actions. The more you are hiding under 100 lawyers instead of taking responsibility. That responsibility they talk about. So modern people, we are only encouraged to embrace individual freedoms. And what does individual freedom mean? Individual freedom simply means the ability to self-destruct. Now nobody can talk to you. Finish. Nobody can talk to you. That is not being free. You are putting yourself in a different kind of bondage. That's the bondage of selfishness. You see, but we live in a society where even though we all the talk say we don't like selfishness, the more we talk say we don't like selfishness, the more we validate selfish behavior. So we there for Nigeria, you know, for a country where people they suffer like this, and we'll find people where they justify the criminality of politicians. Yes, because when people sit there in public office and act selfish, other people will come outside and tell them, hey, you won't make you hungry die. You know what make you get money. So freedom to destroy your own country. Freedom to destroy your own country. Freedom to destroy your own people. Freedom to destroy your own people. You are allowed to exercise that freedom. I want to ask those politicians, when they explain freedom to the youth and the young people of this generation, right? They explain freedom to them from their own selfish perspective. Where is the freedom to uplift your people? Can African politicians exercise the freedom to uplift us? The freedom to give us 24 hours light, potable water. Can they exercise their freedom in a way that gives their people good health care? Why people they talk say people want how did they put down? How did they put down? Say people they are free to do what they want in office. They go to the office, they are free to accumulate wealth for their family and themselves individually. Individual development tied to individual freedom. Where is the freedom to lift the people up? So, the more I see people talk about being free in our society, the more I realize, say, no, maybe we don't understand what freedom is. Young people, freedom doesn't mean you have the right to smoke Colorado till you fall inside the gutter, drink yourself to stupor. If that's not the only kind of freedom you can express, where is the freedom of your own self-realization? Where is the freedom of your own self-realization, of your own self-development? People, our young people like us, when they commit crime, they tell you, I'm free to commit crime because yes, society, as I say, we always mix freedom up, you know. Oh, I'm free to do whatever the fuck I want. Wait. So society, we endorse that selfishness, even though we try to lie about it, act like yeah, we are free. We don't like selfish people, but we see people every day that are successful based off of selfishness, based off of lack of empathy. They are exercising their freedoms to behave that way. But how do we as a society sanction that? We sanction it by accepting them in our midst. When people exercise their freedoms to punish us and punish millions of our brothers and sisters, and then we bring them into our media and we hail them, we put them as an example of society, we endorse them, all those kind of things, what are we saying? What are we saying? We are saying we endorse that selfishness, whether we try to deny it or not. So even among us young people, yeah, the freedom to be a criminal is exercised. But how many of us are exercising our freedom. Now, don't get me wrong, go. Me, I'm not a ethical judge or moralist. I'm not saying as a criminal you're a bad person. I'm saying, even though people now become criminals and say, okay, it is because they cannot make it. In the criminality, how did they express the freedoms? How do they express the freedoms within that? Do they now use those things that they've earned from their criminality to say, okay, fine, I want to advance my community? Or they are deeper into the selfishness of I am free? So you find young people that have come out from poor homes, from dilapidated environments. You find them making money in their lifetime by any means. I'm not here to judge you. Now you are taking that money to do what? To live like the oppressor. We express our freedoms by living like those that are denying us freedoms. So want to behave like their children, stay in their neighborhoods, instead of staying in our own neighborhood and trying to elevate our neighborhoods. We move to where they are, start behaving like them, rent mopo to be guiding us like them. That is what it means to be free for all. That's freedom. So success now becomes what? Success becomes the freedom to do anything you like. And this for me really is what I hate about this expression of freedom. The more successful you are, the more you have the right to do what you like. Though one guy say Yahoo boy, no, I'm not judging you. Listen, do anything you want to do, man. As in, that one is not my business. Everything is a means. I believe that everything is a means to an end. What is your end? That's what matters for me. What is the end goal? Why are you doing what you're doing? Are you doing it to become another obnoxious, loud, young, directionless young person? Then do that. That's what I have an issue with. Is what do you want to do? What do you want to become with your success? If our success is the right for us to do as we want, to do anyhow to our people, then I have a problem with that success. If the success you have means that you don't want to take other people into consideration, you want to be able to shit on people and get away with it, I have problem with that kind of freedom. If your success means that you want to be free, to abuse people, to be corrupt, to loot our treasury as you like, if that's the freedom that you want to express, I'm against that kind of freedom. And I'm against your success. And you can call me a hater all day long. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, I don't really give a fuck what people are. We are made to believe that money is the end. But money is a means. Money is a means and will always be a means. Money is a tool. What do you want to use your money to build? How do you want to utilize this tool? It has a lot to do with, because this word free, all the thing free. We need to talk about free. What are people talking about free? Let's break free down. What kind of free do we value? Maybe people should read Yurugu. In Yurugu, Marimba Ani goes into the concept of freedom that we live under, because we live under freedom as in the European epistemology of it. Freedom in this sense, means that you as the individual, you are the ultimate point of your decision. Everything is about you. So I will realize that people that say that they love freedom so much, that tell us that freedom is everything, you find out that they're the same people that tell you that it's not good to have too much free time. If you are just sitting down with free time, it's not valuable. Marimba Ani breaks that down. Free time, if you just sit there in your house, say I'm free and relax. They don't want that. They say you have to now fill that free time with something, because if you are idle, that idle mind is devil workshop. Right? So free time is not valuable in this system. That time must be filled by something before people, and that's something that is filled with. Now what does it, now that free time that you have is really now our expression here that I'm talking about. We want to talk about free time. So you use your free time now to do what? Do you use it to build your community, or build yourself, or do both? Free time is your major expression of your own freedom as yourself. So what do you use your free time for? How do you express this freedom of free time? Can you say, I just want to chill? I just want to chill. I just want to find inner peace. I just want to take deep breaths. That is valuable, fam. It is valuable. Do I want to elevate my consciousness? Do I want to sit down and read books that teach me about what I'm supposed to do? That is valuable, fam. But do we put value on those things, or our free time must be spent inside bars, drinking, spending money, online, psh. How do we continue? Where do we find the way to express our freedom in a way? Because see, expressing your freedom in the right way as an African person is one of the most difficult things you can do today. Because expressing your time as an African person in a very positive way doesn't make anybody money. You understand? So because that doesn't make people rich, they spend a lot of money on their influencers to make you feel like those acts are not cool. So as modern people, we are not allowed to do anything that is not cool. So I want to ask this question: do you have the freedom to be uncool? How many people have the freedom to be uncool? How many people have the freedom to not do what the crowd is doing? Are you free? Are you truly free? Hey, wait, I'm free. Are you free if you are doing what everybody is doing? How can you make me believe that that's truly what you want to do, that you made that decision yourself? Everybody want to be cool, man. Even those, and cool is something you can only afford. If your cool is something you can only afford, how can you be free when you don't have money? Somebody else has money, and you do, so you can't really be free. You can't really be free, man. It's impossible. So, our expression to be free, we must find a way to now begin to elevate it. We must find different expressions of freedom. Freedom can no longer be the right to do anything we like, especially we that were living under oppression. How can freedom be the ability to do anything? I'm free to do anything I like. That is not freedom, that's selfishness. You understand? That's not freedom, that's what? That's selfishness. Yurugu was written by Marimba Ani. You know, Marimba, Marimba, Ani, Ani. So check it out if you want to. So for me, I don't really think that we can only express freedom by doing anything we like, disrespecting our women, disrespecting our environment, the freedom to pollute. Why is that? Why are those the freedoms that we are able to exercise? So for me, those are the things that really bother me, because it is really cowardly. It is easier to pollute the river than to clean it. It is easier. Are you listening? It is easier to look the other way when oppression is happening than to face it. Right? So you're looking the other way and saying because you are free. That's not freedom, that's selfishness. I mean, the way we have now suddenly turned our selfishness into a virtue called freedom is what I'm trying to get to the bottom of in this little. How can we truly say we are free when we are making decisions that are convenient? Isn't freedom supposed to be at some point inconvenient, expressing your freedom, your individuality? How can you go well with everything and say you are free? So we sit down in the country and say that concern me is an expression of freedom. How can concern me be an expression of freedom? Because truly we understand, white people came in Africa and say, oh, African people were not free, our ancestors were not free. Our ancestors were not free. White people brought freedom. When what it really brought was individualism. To make the final point for the day. Many people have actually believed that we were not free before the white people came. That the white people brought freedom to Africa. But the truth is that the white people never brought freedom. What they brought was individualism. They brought imbalance. Because we African people, see today, I laugh when I hear Europeans talking about climate change and how people have to be green and recycle and be one with the environment. When they met African people, we were the original green people, man. We lived one with the environment. You know what we were called? Savages. They say we are savages for respecting our trees. They said we are savages for respecting our rivers. We are savages for respecting the ocean. We are savages for respecting the mountains. We are savages for respecting the desert. They said we are savages for respecting our ancestors. We are savages for respecting the earth. But today, they are shouting that thing that they spent 5 centuries telling the world to disrespect, nature, telling us how we are the kings of nature, how we are put here to dominate nature. Now 500 years later, they are running around all over the place telling us about climate change, telling us how we have to start respecting the trees, telling us how we have to stop polluting the rivers, as if they are telling us something we didn't know before. is that not us being free? Free to be men. Men. They said that for the world population to live like Americans, we need 4.5 Earths. So if everybody start living the way Americans live, if all of us in the world start consuming like Americans consume, we would need 4.5 Earths. 4.5 Earths. This Earth is not enough. We will outconsume our planet. I was watching BBC last week. White people, Europeans were jubilating that they landed a machine in Mars. They were saying that this is a big step. Listen to what they say. They say this is a big step in our plan to move to Mars. Ha! Are they telling us something? Are they saying they've used their freedom to destroy this earth already? Now they have to move somewhere else? Who is this person that's been talking? Who is this Margaret? Only Africans who are Aborigines are Africans. Who is this person? I mean, every race. How did every race contribute? See, these kind of people that don't know anything that come to my page. See, if you don't know anything, don't come to this page. Just leave my page if you don't know anything. I'm tired of dumb people coming to my page to talk dumb shit. Aborigines are Africans that migrated from South Africa through the land bridge that is now underwater due to ocean rise that came from climate change. That's how they got to Australia. Every race did not cause climate change because every race is not responsible for the Industrial Revolution. The race responsible for the Industrial Revolution is the race responsible for climate change. All you imperialist apologists that want to blame the whole world for the crime of your masters, please stop. Don't come to this page to talk shit. This is not your low consciousness, dumb ass page for people like you that don't know shit. That just open their mouth. Aborigines are Africans. You go and ask them. You go read their history. Go and see where they come from. Dumbass people. Okay, Aborigines are not Africans. Who was responsible for the Industrial Revolution that is causing all the pollution in this world? Who is responsible for it? It is Africans that caused that one too. We are responsible how? Even this is 2021, African nations are not even yet industrialized. You can categorically. You see, this is another act of freedom. When people have the right to just be free to talk anyhow that they like, come and talk shit without any kind of investigation, tell me categorically that I am wrong. How? That the whole world is responsible for that. There's no we in climate change. Climate change is entirely European responsibility. Entirely a European responsibility. Because they are the ones that told us the Industrial Revolution is the next best step. It's even good she didn't detract what I'm saying because it leads me to my next point. The freedom to accumulate as much wealth as you want. The freedom to accumulate as much wealth as you want to the level, to the extent of destroying the environment. Capitalism. Capitalism is nothing but the system that allows you to accumulate as much wealth as you want, gives you the freedom for individual advancement as far as you want, to the detriment of people and nature. That is another freedom that we exercise to the fullest of its ability. The freedom of accumulation. See, because when white people came to tell us that because we are not individualistic enough, we are not free. You understand this concept? That selfishness has been replaced. Freedom is now selfishness. It has been replaced. Because when white people came and deceived us that it is because our freedom is not individual, that our freedom is not individual. You understand what I'm saying? We are not free. And those of us that supported them bought into it and helped them to bring down our own. So now we live in this system where your individual need, your individual idea, your individual whatever, you place it at the same level. You place your individual need, your individual progress at the same level as the collective progress and the collective need. So we in Nigeria will sit down, seeing the majority of us living in poverty and hungry, and we will see the success of somebody like Dangote as everybody's success. Dangote man will be saying that he is successful, will be explaining his success as Nigeria's success. People are dying all over the world from hunger, diseases, preventable deaths today in Africa. The percentage of preventable deaths today in Africa was higher than 200-300 years ago. Because what is preventable death? Preventable death is that something that has a remedy kill you. Right? Is that not what it means? So today, we die from accidents that the simple remedy is good roads, but we are still dying. And it's somebody that is exercising his freedom. He's exercising his freedom not to do the road. Yes or no? Yes, so we are not practicing individualism. In Nigeria, it is rugged individualism. Rugged one. So this freedom to accumulate. Accumulate. And people now act like it's some kind of advanced idea. Like, they are the hardest workers. First of all, over 80% or close to 80% of the world's wealth is inherited. Yeah. So this whole lie that capitalism tells us that your work determines your success in life is a lie. Your success in life is determined by your network. Finish. Your network determines your success in life. That's what is happening in this world of capitalism. You can work hard from the day you die to the day you work. You will never make it. Somebody doesn't do any work, you know one person, he make it the next day. So now people are accumulating. Nature is dying. Nature belongs to nobody. Nature belongs to everybody. The same people that will not give you the right to throw one piece of paper in their swimming pool. The same people that will exercise all the power they have in their life to protect their swimming pool from receiving one piece of paper as debt will send their company to the ocean to be dumping waste so that they can make profits. Because success has given them the power to express their freedom in that way. Imagine they will put fence, put police, everything. You can't do it. You can't throw anything in their compound. You can't pollute their compound. You can't throw dirty from your outside into their gate. 5 army will come outside and beat you to death. These people will go into our forest and start killing our wildlife, shooting the lions, shooting the elephants, cutting the trees, doing anything that they like because they are free. But because we Africans, we did not allow such behavior. We did not allow such behavior. They say we are not free. Because we didn't make any man think that he is successful enough to just go into our forest and start cutting any amount of tree in need. We don't allow any rich man or any successful person in our society to just go and pollute our rivers as they like. We give the rivers symbolic meaning that that give the rivers humanity. Transfer our humanity to our environment. They say we are stupid, we are not free. That's bondage. Why are you talking? Shani, don't answer this, Margaret. Somebody that is living in Nigeria and telling you how socialism has failed. Is capitalism, is capitalism, what is capitalism? Are we not Nigerians here living under capitalism? Is capitalism successful? Why are you arguing? Why are you answering this person, Shani? Why are you answering this person? Leave people that they don't stand. These people are what they call contrarians. They just want to come anywhere and say something opposite so that you see that they are there. You know, finish. Please forget this kind of people. Forget this kind of people. Leave them alone. People that will tell you that Venezuela is failing because of capitalism, but will not tell you about the American sanctions that is causing the failure. You know, they'll never tell you about the sabotage and the sanction. They'll say socialism failed. That's why one idiot is telling that capitalism is the advancement, or is only through capitalism that it's only capitalism that advances innovation. It's only capitalism that science can grow. Forgetting that the first man in space was Yuri Gagarin of the Soviet Union, a socialist state, was the first state to send somebody to space. They forget that. So, I mean, the most medically advanced state in the world today is Cuba, a socialist state. Stop talking to these people. They don't know any, they have no sense. I beg, I'm done. So let's stick to what we are saying, our freedoms, and how people express these freedoms. You know? They express the freedom, their individual freedom, to the detriment of our collective benefit. Isn't it true? The true will to be free is the will to wish that your brothers and sisters are free too. Isn't the true wish to be free the will to allow your brothers and sisters to be free? If you are free and you're using your freedom to block other people's freedom, how is that freedom? How is that something that we should aspire to? We are in a system that is telling us that we should aspire to put our own freedom, our own needs, our own wants above the needs and the wants of everybody else in this world today. That is not us, that is not we. They say, heavy lies the head that wears the crown. Right? This is what these rich people say. But this heavy head will still sleep on soft pillow, soft linen, eat the best food with the heavy head. The heavy head will still open his heavy mouth and chop the best food, enter the best car, fly in the best plane with the heavy head. My brothers and sisters, heavier yet is the crownless head. Heavier yet is the crownless head, my brother, that have to carry the weight, all the weight of the atrocities of that heavy crowned head. How free are we? As I said in the beginning, until we are free to send our children to good schools, until freedom for us means that our children have the freedom to go to the best hospital, our children have the freedom to go right to school on the best roads, our children have the freedom to access the best opportunities in this world, there's no way in this world that we can truly say that we are free. There's no way in this world we can truly say that we are free. We are the crownless heads. We are the crownless head, and heavier yet. Heavier yet. is our crownless heads. So before we think of freedom as the means to go about doing anyhow, we must remember who we are and where we have come from. Who we are and where we have come from and what we are going through. And what we are going through, my brothers and sisters. If our expression of freedom is going to pile more pain, if our expression of freedom is our ability to disregard that which is sacred to us, if our expression of freedom is only to make white people rich, if our expression of freedom is to self-destruct, please, let's abandon this freedom now. Abandon the freedom now. We must begin to revalue. We must begin to see freedom as those things that are hard. We must begin to see freedom as those things that are hard. Yo, oh, Shaq Bars, that's my name. I'll talk to Shaka. Shaka, where are you? I see I have a request from you, bro. Where you at? Where are you? See, oh. My man, let's do this. Let me give you 10 minutes. I normally don't allow anybody on my ish. Let's do. Yeah, come on, Shaq Bars. Come on, bro. I just invited you, so if you accept that.
Yes,
Yo! Bro.
Big man, wagwan.
I was still telling my friends about the day you gave me that chalice in the back of my bus in Brighton. You know, after the show at the Dome. My man.
The big thing. And then you how, but you was able to then go on stage and perform for like all of that time, and you had all of that ganja in your system, and you just tore down the place.
Oh man, that was a night, man. That was a night, man. Great night. Me, you, Akala, memorable. One of my greatest nights. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So we're talking about freedom. So shall we talk about neo-colonialism then? Because I'm in Ghana right now, and there's some shit that I see going on where I'm like, hang on. So you still work for the British, because the stuff that you're doing makes me think that you don't want your people to be free. You know them thing there where, like, I was watching the whole thing where they're in the courts, and the highest courts in Ghana, they're wearing blonde wigs, like from Britain. You know them things. They're wearing those
Yeah. They do it here too. We've got it here too, brother. Break it down. Let them know.
So, interestingly enough, back in the ancient Kemetic days, the highest courts, they would wear headdresses to signify that they are a law official. They are responsible for the judgment of the country. Then the British and the Spanish, they stole that shit, and they started wearing these wigs to symbolize. They were always big, puffy white wigs to symbolize afros, to symbolize black people hair. But they were white, they were blonde, to say like, this is our way of doing things. So they just copied it. And now you have Africans with dark skin and bald heads wearing these wigs on top of their head. Look like some kind of uniform helmet of white supremacy, where they're making decisions for African people with rat fur imitation European hair on their head. And it made me feel so that you don't have a clue about your own liberation when you're still using the colonizers' tools to make judgment on your people.
And you know where that is even funny? Is that these people determine your freedom legally.
Right, but they're not free themselves. Like, they haven't emancipated their own mind.
People that are in complete mental bondage determine your freedom legally, politically, economically, and things like that.
Right. So that me, I tell you, yo, I'm gonna get a picture of it so people can see, because a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about. We have that in Nigeria.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we definitely.
I'm confused. The other thing,
I'm
the
even
other
more
thing
confused than you.
the other thing I'm confused about is yeah, look at this. Look at this. I'll show you this now. Ah, look at this. These people here.
We've got that too, man.
Swearing,
Trust me.
swearing, swearing on the Bible, wearing blonde wigs. So what are they really doing? But you know, I figure there's a book. I don't know if you've read it. You might have read it already. I really like it. It's called uh, A Rebirth of African Civilization by Chancellor Williams. Have you read it?
Yeah. The destruction of African
No,
civilization by
no.
chance.
I've read that one. He wrote a book. He was here in Ghana in 1956. He wrote a book. He wrote this book between 1956 and 1958, which is called A Rebirth of African Civilization. And it was
Okay, I'm
basically
gonna check that.
during Nkrumah's revolution. He wrote this book to say, this is the solution. So the destruction is about what was destroyed. Then he wrote a book about the solution. And the solution, the conclusion of the book is an African university that's owned by the community, not owned by elitism, not you have to pay school fees that nobody can afford to go to. It's like everybody in the community becomes educated to a level where everybody is then useful. And I think that I just built a school here in Ghana, but I am looking at a site now to build another school because the only way that things can really work is if we own our own institutions. These, like a lot of the government-run facilities, they do too much beating of the children. They
Yeah,
do too much. You have to
that
remember
is,
this. You have to,
sorry
and
to chip
everybody's
in.
learning in English.
That
Why?
is the reinforcement of the slave master slave mentality in the children. So you have to be accepted to be whipped into shape from a young age. That allows you to be a more malleable adult under oppression in like a society. You understand? Even Paulo Freire in his book The Pedagogy of the Oppressed kind of explains that. He breaks it down in the aspect of education being a means of the elites, which are the oppressors of society, the humanizers of society, to project their spirits into young ones. You understand? Exactly. You know the thing. You have your things, fam. You have your things. You have your things, man.
We're
You
here.
know.
We're here. We're
You
here.
have
We
your
have them on
things.
deck.
You know. So in Africa, a lot of things that happen in our a lot of things that happen in our educational systems. I realize, yeah, man, don't make me go upstairs and start. Listen, stop showing me your boobs. Show off.
I'm telling you.
A lot of things that happen in our educational system here just goes to reinforce the slave master relationship in society. Who the as Peter Tosh called them, the down pressers in Africa. They want to be the new whites. Basically, they are the new whites, the new colonial masters. That's why new colonialism. They take the position of the colonial appointee of Europe. So Europe doesn't have to appoint white men to come from Europe to govern us anymore. They are the neo-colonialists. So to take that happen, to make that situation feasible, they need to make people malleable. You need to in some way reinforce that slave master slave relationship. Even
The
in our
school.
high schools here, juniors are not allowed to even talk to seniors. So if you are in a senior secondary, you have the right to oppress your junior. You have the right to take his meal, take his pocket money, punish him, give him corporal punishment, beat him, and the junior must accept that, because he is going to do that to his own juniors when he becomes a senior.
So then how do you gain respect for the elders if you're just scared of them?
So that is what I don't know if you joined this conversation from the beginning. So being an elder in society has been is no longer about being respectable.
Mm.
It's no longer about earning that respect due to your ability, due to the fact that you're able to apply your experience in a practical way to inspire the young ones. Being an elder today has now simply means the opportunity to be selfish, the opportunity to abuse, to take advantage. You understand? So you see, so that now gives young people, the freedom to desacralize our elders. And
Yeah.
to even go deeper, gives them the ability to even desacralize our ancestors. Because what are your ancestors if they're not your elders gone? You know what I'm saying?
Right. We are the next ancestors, and we need to start acting
Exactly.
accordingly.
So the loss of respect in our society is also part of us expressing this European standard of freedom. And it's both ways. The young people disrespect the elders, by disregard, and the elders disrespect the youth by dehumanization.
I feel like I'm going to build many schools. I'm going to have a school in every single African country. But I feel like there needs to be more accountability for our own communities to stop perpetuating the things that we know to be bad. A culture is supposed to cultivate you. It's supposed to grow you. So if you're doing stuff that's not growing you, for instance, all of this shit where people are going to Europe, being educated there, and then coming back to rural Africans, it's like, you're an African, but who are you really working for? I don't think I don't think that even me, when I'm building my schools, like, the schools should not be taught in English. They need to be taught in Tree. They need to be taught in Amharic. They need to be taught in Swahili. These children do not need to be taught in the colonial master's language. And then how are we gonna come up, like, for instance, I was saying to my friend, the language of coding, of computer tech, science coding, is English. I'm saying there needs to be one that is in an indigenous language so that you can have indigenous coding, so that you can start to transfer all of this indigenous wisdom into digital mastery. Like, so you can master a whole language and a whole experience. Right now, we are being taught by slave masters still. So we're still having the same, like, all of this stuff. Everybody's like, oh, AI, it's bad, it's evil, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this. And it's like, no Africans are really coding AI. Like, we haven't been able to put into that our own concepts, even when it comes to media. And you see this whole, everybody's getting excited about the Marvel universe. And it's like, we have Anansi, we have Oshun, we have Shango, we have Yah. Like, why are there not epic
That's
movies
devil
about
worship,
that?
bro. That's the devil. That's the devil. That's the devil. It's the devil. Ooh.
Our black magic is our black power, and we get called, it gets called the devil.
The thing about the educational system also is that African educational system was too liberal. Now, don't mix education with specialization, So they are specialists. So the Smith family, the family that does the smithing in Africa, okay, they might have a special family that goes deep. But every African family would have some idea about smithing. For example, let's look at something like the law. The law in Africa, in traditional African society, wasn't something that professionals handled. The law in traditional African society, everybody knew the law. Everybody was their own lawyer. Nobody went to the chief to report a case and took a lawyer with them. So what I also learned from Marimba Anida, one of the things she opened my eye to is the fact that academia, the way it is, education in European form, academia, is exclusion. Meaning we decide who can be a doctor. We decide who you can call a lawyer. We decide who can defend, who can save lives, we decide.
And even the
Whereas
doctors, it's all in Latin. It's not even in English, it's in Latin. So they
exactly.
have to learn a whole
Africa,
language to tell you you can't sit with us.
in how Europe underdeveloped Africa, Walter Rodney said, today we are educated in Africa. We believe we are more educated in Africa today more than 100 years ago. But 100 years ago, a 10-year-old child in Africa will name every plant in the forest and tell you its uses. But we and all our degrees today know nothing about our environment. So are we truly educated?
No. No.
So education for me also, as African people, we have to now begin to realize that everybody in Africa was a doctor to a certain extent. Yes, they were specialists. When you were too sick, you had to go to certain specialists. Yes. But to a certain extent, to the extent of general practitioner, every African could take some herbs and be healed. So many of the professions that brought prestige to the African elites did not exist in traditional African society. Lawyers, engineers. Every African was an engineer. You want to build your house, you call
Everybody
your
could build
brothers.
their house. Right.
You call your brothers and you build your house.
For free.
For free. You know, I say to everybody, I tell everybody, you know, one of the lines I use during my training here when we are doing Nigerian research, I ask everybody, among us, whose grandfather was homeless?
Nobody.
Whose grandfather in Africa? Homelessness came with capitalism in Africa. Homelessness came with professionalism. Homelessness came with professional architects. Homelessness came with professional builders and contractors, to construct.
They couldn't create the stock market unless they made many Africans die and many Africans homeless, jobless.
And how do you do that? How do you do that? By professionalizing things that we already did. You know what I'm saying? So now many Africans who could not gain access to this exclusive club called education, suddenly couldn't do those things that they were able to do for hundreds of years. They suddenly couldn't find land anymore without a professional permit that come from a license from the government. They suddenly couldn't build anymore. They were not part of the architectures guild. They could no longer farm their land if they were not part of the market collective.
This thing
that
here.
they had no control over, the marketing boards, as they were called.
Now you have a whole heap of these let me just call them for what them is. Now you have a whole heap of these bumbuckler thieves who are telling you that you are not your own best doctor.
Exactly.
You're having all these people who are coming here and saying to you that you don't know what's going on in your body, so go and take this pill that was made by Europeans. And now you have a whole heap of people who they don't care what you have to say about your own body unless you have a certificate that says that the white man says that your brain is in your head. You can't have a brain in your head anymore because it's not science. It's not the science. And for me, science is just a way of Europeans being able to trump every argument. Every time, look at the science. Look at the science. You funded the science.
I love science. Africans are the creators of science. If you want to discuss science, science means let's follow the evidence. Scienticism, on the other hand, is the theory
and academia
that all answers lay in science, and that is bullshit. You know, this power that they give to themselves, you know, because they control academia. So when you control academia, you can politicize the sciences.
Right.
You know, you
With
cannot
no
take other forms of
spirituality.
knowledge. You cannot take the other, like intuition. You cannot say, oh, intuition doesn't exist. Intuition is not a valid form of learning, of understanding. You understand what I'm saying? So you can now
There's no
disregard
more
other ways of seeing the
scientific
world.
spirituality. Used to be we
Exactly.
had scientific spirituality, and we had
Exactly.
science, and we had spirituality, and we had metaphysics, so on and so forth. Now it's just
And they
science,
could
and
all
that's the end of it.
coexist. And they could all
Right.
coexist. Right? Because what is science without the understanding of the balance of nature? Without understanding the balance
Capitalism.
of the earth itself? What is science that allows a technology to grow that will harm its source? Where is the knowledge in that? Where is the knowledge? Where is the knowledge in nuclear weapons? That's why I did this freedom thing today. Like, why should humanity, even though we know how to make nuclear bombs, does that give us the right to make a single nuclear bomb?
And these people, this is the thing that always stumps me, because I've been working in Congo for some years now. Is how is it that people are trying to say that, for instance, Congo, $24 trillion in mineral resources in the ground, the second largest country in Africa, the second largest rainforest on the planet, $1 billion of gold, 90% of the world's uranium, plutonium, cobalt, has tungsten, wolframite, all these things. How are they saying that Congo is also the poorest country in the world, when the superpowers, the military might of the world, literally get their superpowers from Congo? If there was no Congo, there's no uranium, there's no plutonium, there's no nuclear weapons, so that you can't have this kind
There are no
of
laptops. No laptops, fam.
no phones.
No
No phones.
phones. You know, and then they tell us that these things are worth $10 a barrel. But the phone is $1,000 a phone.
Right.
Is that not the world we live in? Crude oil
Right.
is $60 a barrel. When they decide the price of what we have and pay us with fiat, let's not forget it's fiat currency, you know. Paper, backed by the words of the white man. The white man says
Right.
this is $100.
Right. There's no credit here in Africa. If you want to get your house, you have to pay for it. If you want to pay rent in a house, you have to pay 1 year up front. In America, what
If you are
happens?
black, white
Well,
people are allowed to pay monthly.
white people are allowed to pay monthly.
Yeah, man, that white. Listen, I tell my white friends, I say you don't know white privilege until you come to Africa. When you are in Europe and in America, your white privilege, there are too many white people there.
Yes, down there small. You don't even see it.
Come to Africa and enjoy white privilege. I want to go and do the statistics to see the percentage of white poverty in Nigeria. What is the percentage of white poverty? How many white people
Or
in
Jamaica.
Nigeria live below the poverty line?
Or
Talk
Jamaica.
about white
Or
privilege.
you see it when the people, they go to the supermarket. You see the Mzungu, the Abroni, the Yimbo. You see them when they go to the supermarket. Them people there, they can walk into the front of the line and people will be quiet.
It happened to me in Ghana, fam. I was in Ghana.
What happened?
In a line in a pharmacy, and this white guy just walks in and walks right in front of the line. Right in front of the line, and nobody said. I was like, I'd rather die. I will die. I will die here. I reached inside of me and pulled out my
And pull the
British,
ancestor out.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. You will not do that, sir. You will not. I repeat, sir, kind sir.
Shit.
Listen, these Ghanaians were quiet, fam.
Quiet.
You know, and I'm not saying it is different in Nigeria. listen, in Nigeria, I go to LG store, owned by some Lebanese people, and the way they talk to their Nigerian staff, and
Disgusting.
I want to die. But listen.
No,
Listen.
we just need to own our own institutions, our own supermarkets, our own schools, our own transportation system, and run them as the example. I'm gonna own a mine in Congo, and I'm gonna run that mine in a way that makes all the other mines feel shame, and I'm gonna protect it with guns. And anybody wants to come and fuck with us, then they'll see what happens. Because what's happening right now is anybody, even the I'm not going to say their name in here, but the some of the governments of the world, the united governments of the world, be going into Congo pretending like they have charities. They don't have no charities in there. They're going up to the mines. They're getting out minerals. They're taking them to Rwanda. They're sending them shit to China, and they're building iPhones.
Of course, Africa is one big proxy war. Do you think it's only in Congo? Come to my country right now. Because they are illegally mining all our minerals in the northwest, the tin, columbite, all these steel, iron ore, all these mineral resources, gold in Osun, gold in Ondo, gold in Zamfara. Since they announced gold in these states, there's been so-called farmers, headsmen clashes in all these places that they just said they found gold. Why? So just to keep African people away. Anywhere we have resources in Africa, suddenly there's violence there, so that the people of Africa will not go there en masse. Everybody's afraid to die.
or there's Ebola, or there's some type of something. Yeah, I see it. These people, they're crazy. I feel like the only way that this is going to be able to be stopped is by people who are African nationalists, Pan-Africans, who are just like, no, we'll own our economy and we'll run it the way that we want to see it run. Because every single time, whatever leader is elected, whoever's pretending to, this is what I was speaking to Burna Boy about a month ago or a few months ago, like they're just recreating the same with nepotism, cronyism. They're just recreating the same leader again and again and again to do the same shit that keeps Africa where it is. And Africa is never able to move forward while these same people are grooming their family members, grooming their friends, all that shit.
Because we, the people, are inspired by the media to be caught up in their value system. Because there's no way you can bring down what you're trying to be like. So even if you take it out from a global context and you look at it from a Nigerian context, all our oppressors in Nigeria are also made to be the example of society by the media, by entertainment. You find our musicians calling the names of our oppressors as some kind of person they are trying to be, have this kind of money,
Bezos, Gates, the Arabs.
Their father, how is the one helping this thing? You go to hear the news, they are using the same people as the example of society. So a lot of young people start planning their lives along the lines, looking at what these people are doing as what informs the major decisions in their existence. So many a times, young people early in their career are at the crossroads. Oh, should I help this man betray our people, or should I stand my ground? Well, but all these people that we respect in society, they betrayed, and there's no sanction. They are still celebrated, they are still sung about, people still want to be their friends. You understand? So what is the consequence of me not taking this action for my own selfish interest, because I am free to do so, So where is the incentive for people to be revolutionary? Where is the incentive for people to want to truly change the status quo when all the institutions of influence in Africa continue to give the status quo a pass? You understand? There's no stigma. There's no, nobody turns their back on any of this.
Bribes and corruption.
Yeah. We use our
to be
music to
uncomfortable
celebrate them.
now.
We use our movies to celebrate them. We use our religious institutions to celebrate them. So all these things, I mean.
Fanon was writing about it in The Wretched of the Earth, about the fake black bourgeoisie
Yeah.
And the fact that the leaders who kicked out colonialism, they put in the same capitalism, which is still colonialism. So now the neo-colonialism countries, African countries, are run by European corporations right now,
Of
and
course.
there's
Of course.
no
Every
there's,
African country, like Nigeria, you know, we Nigerians laugh at South Africans like, oh, you South Africans, do you think we Nigerians are stupid like you, that you are under whites? And I
right,
say to my
but
Nigeria, I'm like,
the oil,
Nigeria is 74% also foreign owned.
right, the oil fucked up Nigeria. The oil was Biafra
The major
war.
oil companies are foreign. Our major telecommunications companies are foreign. Our major retail companies are foreign. Our major entertainment companies are foreign. Everything is foreign. So it is not until a white man comes to sit down in your country that he owns you. This is
Right.
capitalism. This is globalization. The person that controls the economy, owns the country. You know what I'm saying? So Nigeria is just as much under European and Arabic control as South Africa. People think it's only white people control it, but they are Indians, Lebanese, Jews. Just like in Nigeria, it's whites, Lebanese, Indians, Jews. Same shit. You know?
Is saying Nigeria oil was first discovered in Nigeria in 1956. Is for me, it's like how are you creating peace in Nigeria for all this time while you're colonizing, you're able to keep peace. But then as soon as you start finding oil, as soon as you start getting the gold, then you're able to start funding the Biafra war. You're able to start funding destabilization in Somalia. You're able to start funding the genocide in Congo that was paid for by Bill Clinton, and he gave the Rwandan government all of that money and all of those weapons to be able to destroy Congo. It's like when
Yeah,
it
but
was under colonial rule, there was peace. Now there's no
no, but
colonial
the
rule.
thing about
They try to
colonial rule
blame
is
us.
it wasn't as peaceful as they say, even when it was rubber, look at what Leopold did in Congo because of rubber, So African people, we have always been commodity under this commodity, collateral
No,
damage,
but
cannot further under this capitalist system. There's always one new product, one new resource that is valuable to them that we must die for. You understand? Today,
but
today is
I mean
yeah.
the piece of there was sellouts who were fighting us for white people, right? Under colonial rule. So there was the soldiers, they were in Leopold's army, etc., etc. But the tribalism that there is now, the xenophobia where they're chopping people up in South Africa for coming from Congo, coming from Nigeria, they're
Yeah.
coming from Ethiopia, going for work. That wasn't there in an exacerbated form, and also there wasn't automatic weapons for that to be able to be carried out. So now it looks like from the outside in, and the media, they perpetuate this idea of, well, look at these Africans, they're just killing each other, they're just destroying each other without us, the white man, being there. They're barbaric. When we were there, there was peace. But it wasn't peace. It was we were being destroyed by them. We was enslaved by them during these times. So we weren't at peace, but white people were at peace. Now they left. They try and
That's
say
what
that
I'm trying to say.
we can't govern ourselves.
Now they've transferred the way they used to kill us when they were in charge had just been transferred. That duty had just been transferred to their puppets, who now do the killing on their behalf. The killing that never ceased. But just the way it's okay for America to kill 3 million Iraqis for democracy, but one bomb goes off in New York, then it's terrorism.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. So when they are brutalizing us and killing us under colonialism, it was the civilization program. They were civilizing us. They weren't killing us. They weren't dehumanizing us. They weren't destroying our nations. They were civilizing us. You understand? So it is until we now, now that they can point to black people carrying out the violence, then, oh, it is actually violence. Oh, it is actually war. Because what they were doing to us throughout colonialism, throughout, the entire slave era was war. It was outright war. But they wouldn't call it that because what was the reason for the aggression? There was no reason for the aggression. Africans welcomed you. Africans actually civilized you. Africans shared with you. You had no reason to become an aggressor. So you cannot call yourself an aggressor. You have to say, oh, I am also trying to help them. You understand? So we are civilizing them. We are bringing Christianity. We are bringing Islam. You know, whatever excuse you want to give yourself. You know, but as soon, you know, as you can now, you know, let go of the gun and give it to his black hand, you know, and you stay in the background. Okay, now it's straight violence. Now it's wars. But we have always been under attack, brother. We have always been, you know, at war with these people. You know, and one of the greatest weapons that they've had against us is that they've been able to convince us that this war is not happening. That this death of our people by the millions, you know, over the years is not worth it. It's some kind of benign effect of the civilization agenda and now the democratization agenda. You know, before it was civilization, then it became Christianity, now it's democracy. You know, they always have their reasons to expand,
You
to want
know,
to control.
you know, I seen this thing the other day. I was here. I'm in Ghana now. I'm living in Ghana now, right? And I seen this thing where I'm done with the West. Like that place there is not a place where my mind should exist. And and that's why I've been learning Swahili. Like I don't want to speak English much anymore. And I was watching this thing on a Ghana news channel. It's like a chat show or something, and they were talking about the LGBTQ thing here in Ghana, and the women who were on the mainstream chat TV station. There were 4 women, and 3 of them said they don't like it. It's not Ghanaian. It's not their culture, so on and so forth. And I was sitting there watching it, and I was thinking, if white people could really see this conversation, they would lose their mind, because they have people who are thinking different to them and not aligning with their values and standards that are being imposed on them. And then I was really sitting down and thinking about it, because in Jamaica, people really oppose the LGBTQ thing as well. And I was sitting there and I was thinking about it, but the reason why that became opposed like that was because white people brought the Bible and told us it was illegal to be gay, right? So they brought the Bible, said it was illegal to be gay, but the values and standards don't meet that. Then I seen Nana Akofu, he was on the news, and this white woman, she was asking him, she was like, whoa, why is it that there was a raid on like a LGBTQ, I don't know, it's like a house or a building somewhere here in Ghana. It got shut down straight away. As soon as it got opened up, it got shut down, because they were like, no, we're not into that stuff. And the government shut it down. The police raided it and they shut it down. And then this white woman was questioning Nana Akufo, and she was like, do you not think that this is wrong, that this is happening, and everybody should deserve their freedoms? And the way that he answered the question, he was like, I grew up in England in the 70s, where it was illegal to be gay, right? He said some people decided to come along and change the cultures and change the standards. Some people, some groups, they did that. Why is it? And basically the sentiment of what he was saying is, why is it that you think that we are going to evolve on the same timeline that Europe has evolved on in terms of culture and thinking and these type of things, just because you guys have arrived there through the things that you did, and we in Africa, where countries are only 50 years old, only 60 years old, are supposed to arrive there like that? The reason, you know what I'm actually thinking about, the reason why the thing here got shut down in Ghana? Because if the police didn't shut it down, then the local people would go and attack the place. They would burn it down, right? Yeah. Because the culture is not there. So when those things are happening,
but you know one thing I realized about all these so-called culture traditionalists that, you know, fight for African culture and stuff like that, that I realized that many of them only remember African culture and tradition when they want to use to oppress other African people. It's only for oppression that they suddenly remember they are Africans. Do they worship African gods? No. Do they wear African clothes? No. Do they do any other thing in African style? No. But immediately it's time to oppress their wife, to tell her to be quiet in the house. They suddenly remember we are Africans. You can't be talking to me like that. You know, when it's time to go and burn down a homosexual joint and oppress other African people that are not like them, they suddenly remember that they are Africans. Do they remember that they are Africans when they are in church on Sunday? Do they remember that they are Africans when they are in the mosque on Friday? Do they remember their Africans, you know, when they are working in their banks to destroy Africa? Do they remember their Africans, you know, when they are teaching their children European history and negating African history? Do they remember anything? And so those people's conception of what it means to be African and what African tradition is completely warped, because they don't even understand the culture. Their understanding of African tradition is as told to them by Europeans. So you find many African people actually believing that in African tradition, the man is the head of the family. And there's no single African tradition
where the man is the head of the family.
African
Mother,
men
father,
became
child.
the head of the family when they became Christians.
Right. The elders,
because
mother,
I
father,
know that
child.
my grandmother was richer than my grandfather.
Right.
So the man owned the land, the woman owned the money. That's the balance. You know, you talk shit, you go hungry, bitch. African traditional religion, African traditional family was about balance. A woman's place is in the kitchen. It's a European proverb with no equivalent in any African language.
Right. You know
so
why?
I always find that all these people become traditionalists only as excuse to abuse the rights of African people, or oppress their wives, or oppress their children. You know, you see the way some African people treat their children in the house and claim it is African to treat your children that way. To beat your children up for having an opinion. That's
they learn
not
that from
African.
slave masters.
That is the slave master-slave relationship. Because only the slave was not allowed to express himself. Only the black man was not allowed, only the colonized was not allowed to express himself under colonialism. And we normalize these behaviors. We normalize these behaviors.
So we have children that are in fear of who they are going to be. So they're in fear of becoming
themselves.
Right. They have no opinions, and if they have any opinions, they have to be in line with traditions and beliefs that are un-African, or traditions and beliefs that reinforce a man owning everything, negating that we had 4 female pharaohs, negating matriarchal, matrifocal, and matrilineal societies, negating all of the things that actually grew Africa, which was balance, not patriarchy.
Balance. This is why today, Europeans who have never operated a trust market, I don't know, you know what a trust market is, right? Where people leave their wares in the market and don't watch it, and they go to their homes, and people come to the market, and you take what you want to take, you put the money.
Right.
And nobody stole in those markets. 3 centuries now, down there, just less than 100 years ago, 80-something years ago, I mean, this up until 1928, 30, my dad was born in 38. So up until 1938, we still had such markets in this country. So less than 70 years ago. Yet we Africans today all over the world are known as criminals.
Right.
These are the same people that just 70 years ago would not steal in an open market.
Right. Stealing. Because the thing is that there was accountability if you were a thief, if you were a rapist. If now Europeans have taught us that if you steal and you steal big enough, you don't go to prison. If you rape and you rape big enough, you don't go to prison. And now you have the whole of the diaspora creating these pseudo empowerment movements against Europeans and then trying to export them into Nigeria. All that Black Lives Matter shit. When I saw people in Nigeria and I really watched what was going on, I was like, they can't do what they're doing in America, in Nigeria, because they'll get shot in the street. There needs to be an African way of doing things. Like, you can't export some pseudo kind of thing which actually ended up funding the Democratic Party. You can't export that. There's a lot of people in the diaspora who don't go home, right? And they have these benefits and privileges of colonialism. They've normalized and internalized Western standards and values. And then they preach on social media how this needs to be happening in Africa, but they're not in Africa putting their lives on the line. They're not actually there where the people
There's
are, but
nothing I
they're
hate more
preaching.
than
They're
that.
very preachy.
Always
They're so
preaching all this
preachy. They're so
violence
brave
from the
on
diaspora.
on social media. Right, but they
They're
don't go
all-
home. They're scared to go home, but they're preaching.
You know, anyway. It's almost midnight now, man. I know we're at hour. It's past midnight now, and I've been on here since 10:30.
Yeah. Do
So
your thing. Do your
added
thing,
another.
brother.
You've given my followers a nice extra hour. We thank you. We
Yeah,
appreciate that. You know.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much for coming on my live today. Let's do this again. Let's do it more planned, more structured.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah,
You
man.
know?
Respect, brother. Peace.
Big up. Shaka. Shaq Bars.